attorneys for former President Donald Trump have renewed their bid to get his New York criminal case transferred to federal court.
Yeah, in a 99-page filing entered late on Monday, they argue that the jury in the case involving alleged payments to adult film star Stormy Daniels improperly saw evidence, the jury did, that would now be protected under the Supreme Court's ruling on presidential immunity. We'll bring in Alex Swoyer, a legal reporter for the Washington Times, also Doug Burns, a former federal prosecutor. Thank you both for coming on. Let's give you just a little bit of background on this case. Specifically, there are a few, but here's this one. This is the criminal case where Trump was found guilty in May on 34 felony counts of falsifying business records involving those alleged payments made to Stormy Daniels. Trump's attorneys arguing based on that Supreme Court immunity ruling saying this case presents complex first impression issues relating to the Supremacy Clause, federal officer removal, appearances of impropriety, and conflicts in connection with an unprecedented and baseless prosecution of the leading candidate in the 2024 presidential election, and the ability of future presidents to serve the American people without fear of reprisal from hostile local officials, end quote. So what is the real argument here? Can they appeal the case if the immunity ruling took place after the guilty verdict? Doug, what are your thoughts when you hear this?
Well, Sean, in order to remove a case from state to federal court, generally it's either I
think we're having a little trouble hearing you, Doug.
There's a substantial federal question presented of federal law. They're arguing that the jury, as you explained, heard evidence that relates to things that he enjoys immunity for. It's actually a very complicated evidence question, and I'm not so sure that they are right. There's also a procedural wrinkle, which is that you have to bring a removal petition before a trial. If you bring it after, as they did here, it has to be for good cause. Judge Hellerstein addressed that in the short 4-page opinion that you guys probably saw. So again, I'm not that optimistic for the former president on this one, guys.
Okay, and again, citing back that presidential immunity that we learned from SCOTUS. But you mentioned Doug Hellerstein. Again, this is the U.S. District Judge Alvin Hellerstein. Trump had tried to move this case back to federal court in 2023. It was denied on the basis that hush money paid to an adult film star is not related to a president's official act. The same judge, again, then denied Trump's request to reconsider his decision in September because Trump allegedly failed to show good cause. So, Alex, do you think this could be different now?
Well, I think the question is, as Doug was saying, is it's just unusual to see a criminal case defendant usually before trial, they remove to federal court, not after. We're late in the game. However, the Supreme Court's ruling didn't come down until July. It is somewhat of a new vehicle for his team to use. There's questions of constitutional rights, not only that of former President Trump, but of that of the presidency. That could be something a federal court wants to review. I looked previously when the Second Circuit had batted this request down. If it's the same circuit panel, it could potentially bode somewhat significant for former President Trump. I think it was a Bush appointee, a Trump appointee, and an Obama appointee that previously took a look at this. If that's the same panel, that's a better makeup than what he has at the district court level. And then also back at trial court, we saw Judge Merchan really make only one-sided rulings. So you can see why he would want to get this into federal court. Of course, mainstream media also points out that if it gets into federal court, he has a chance at pardoning himself if he were to win the election, or even directing his DOJ to dismiss the case altogether.
All right, got to leave it right there. Still more questions about it. Alex Swoyer and Doug Burns, thank you very much.